take all that emotional.
Brick when you see this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, girl. Get it.
More of that.
Hyper. A source close to Miley told TMZ the star was smoking the legal herbal drug salvia. So how serious is this exactly? Well, some say it's just typical teen behavior. Others think Miley could well be on her way to becoming the next Lindsay Lohan. By the way, Showbiz Tonight reached out to Miley's people for comment, but as of now, they're keeping quiet. Here now to discuss this are Dr. Drew Pinsky, addiction medicine specialist, host of VH1 Celebrity Rehab, and soon to be host of his own television show right here on HLN. Tara Setmayer, conservative commentator, and Chloe Melas, senior reporter for HollywoodLife.com. Dr. Drew, is this typical 18-year-old behavior? Is there something more here?
Well, I suspect there's something more here. I think let's sort of clarify the issues. One is I can't say that this is a burgeoning addiction. Certainly, that's certainly not the case. And people are always reaching out to me and saying, what would you do if this were your daughter? And what I would say is if I were aware of these sorts of dangerous behaviors, this sort of acting out, particularly in the face of the multiple stressors she's had lately, her family is broken apart, God knows what she has to tolerate in her career, I would say, boy, if this were my daughter, I would get professional help and I would get it right away. I would not try to go this alone. This is a sign of real burgeoning trouble. Salvia is a dangerous compound. It's a profound hallucinogen. It's very powerful. I've seen kids go into multi-day encephalopathies from this drug. Even though it's legal, illegal doesn't really matter to me. People are making a big deal out of that. Look, most of my patients use legal drugs, pills. So it being legal versus illegal is not the issue. The issue is it's a powerful hallucinogen in a kid who is going down a path where if it were my child, I absolutely would not try to go this alone. I would get help right away.
Okay, to that point, her father, Miley Cyrus, tweeted, "Sorry, guys, I had no idea. Just saw this stuff for the first time myself. I'm so sad. There is much beyond my control right now." So, Chloe, what do you make of that? Do you think it's really out of his control?
You know, I definitely think that things are out of Billy's control. You know, he and Tish, he's served her with divorce papers right now. Things are tough for Miley at home. But Miley did not resign her Disney contract. She has been trying to get out of this good girl image for a while now. You know, salvia is legal for now in California. She just turned 18. The video was shot 5 days after her 18th birthday. And clearly she's doing everything she can to get away from it. And will it hurt her image now? Yes. In the long term? No. Look at Kim Kardashian. Look at Drew Barrymore. I mean, there are plenty of people that have made mistakes and come
they have
back
sex,
from them.
Some of them have sex videos, everything.
Right.
It's true, and they've come back. Well, the Paris Hilton's not having an easy time.
Right, and neither is Lindsay Lohan. So, I mean, that is something to kind of look at for Miley, is that, you know, it doesn't always work out. But Miley was number 13 on the Forbes Most Powerful 100 list this past year. So clearly she's doing something right.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about her career, and Dr. Drew is talking about her psyche.
Well, right, but I mean, you know, she is 18, you know, she's powerful, she's rich, she's hanging out with older friends, and, you know, she's experimenting. Whether or not it's right or wrong, in her mind, she's just considering, I'm just getting away from my good girl image. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's legal. What's the big deal?
Well, as Dr. Drew just said, legal doesn't mean diddly, because, you know, people use prescription drugs quite poorly, and they get into a lot of trouble.
Well, right. Well, I mean, it's definitely bad for Miley to be doing this right now, but she is just doing everything she can, from wearing, you know, scandalous outfits, you know, going out a lot, partying. She really just wants to get away from this image.
Yeah.
So clearly this was the wrong move for her, but that's
Tara, go ahead, jump in. What do you say to this? Yeah.
Well, I think that the fact that we're dismissing this somewhat as, well, this is just a phase, is concerning, and it's indicative of how accepting our society has become of this over-sexualization of our teenage girls. You know, I mean, there's part of the segment where we see them completely out of control, like the Lindsay Lohans, like the Britney Spears, that they start off cute and innocent, and then at some point they think they need to sexualize themselves and act out, do drugs, you know, drink excessively to escape from whatever it is that's going on in their lives that's clearly unhealthy. And I think a lot of it has to do with their support group, with their parents. If you look at the cases of Lindsay Lohan and Britney Spears, Miley Cyrus, sometimes the parents get caught up in the life also, and they use their children to live vicariously through them, and they're no longer parents, they're now handlers, but then they lose control of the situation, and we have what we have. I think this is very alarming what's going on with Miley Cyrus.
Well, her mother just, flew down to New Orleans to be with her. Dr. Drew, is that a good idea for the mother to go to her? According to what you're saying, it sounds like a great thing.
Yes. Absolutely, but what was just said, I want to put a coda on that. This is exactly the case. When we evaluate adolescent young adults from a mental health perspective, what we look for is truancy, acting out sexually, sexualizing themselves, drug and alcohol behaviors. Those are the signs of severe mental health issues in that age group. That's it. They don't cry. They don't do the kinds of depressive symptomatologies we're used to seeing in adults. They act out or act in. They cut. They have eating disorders, this sort of thing. But she is manifesting, if somebody were evaluating her, significant mental health problems that would require intervention. So just as you said, to put a cultural blush on it, well, kids will be kids, that's nonsense. We don't do it that way when we're actually evaluating this kind of a kid.
And if she were in Hollywood.
Chloe, wait a minute. What do you say, Chloe?
Well, clearly this is a cry for help. And, we have
Is it a cry for help or a cry for better roles?
No. Listen, I've never met a drug addict that cried for help, guys. I've never met a drug addict that cried for help. They go as far as they can go until they can go no further, and then they stop. But the fact is, she is acting out. She's doing things that are destructive. And by the way, there's no separate manual for celebrities. It's not as though they have a separate set of mental health parameters. They are precisely the same as the rest of us. They do exactly the same thing as the rest of us when we get into trouble, and it's clear here that she is getting into trouble. Now, hopefully she'll pull out of it, but these are signs of real serious trouble.
But it's also clear that she doesn't really have tight reins on her life right now. Yes, her mother went down there, but she was also at the Saints game hanging out with Taylor Lautner. She's in Twilight, Breaking Dawn, leader of the Wolfpack. But, she's going out having fun, partying. Her dad is finding out about it, and he hasn't even seen it, and he's tweeting about it. Clearly, there's some sort of disconnect in communication in the Cyrus family that must be fixed.
But that's the problem right there. She's had no limitations. From what I understand, she lived in her own house before she was 18, even though the family lived in the same compound. But she had her own house, separate from the rest of her parents, and she was able to do whatever she wanted. At 16 or 16 years old, at 15 and 16 years old, she's dating 20-year-old models. And why is it that she wants to shed this good girl image? I mean, the Disney image.
She's sick and tired of being a role model for teenagers. Let's listen to Bill O'Reilly last night on his Fox News show. Watch.
Well, that is pathetic. That's what it is. Ms. Cyrus said she was using a legal substance, but the sad fact is that her days of being a positive role model for young women are long gone.
Listen, she didn't sign up to be a role model, this girl. She signed up to be a Disney star. Now she's tired of it.
Well, it's nice that finally Bill O'Reilly is coming out and saying what we all kind of want to say. We've kind of been tiptoeing around her scandalous outfits and her behavior, which has kind of been a downhill spiral for a while now. But, her parents should be coming out and doing something about this. Maybe they should be pulling her off of some of these movie roles that she's doing and letting her just...
She's 18.
She is 18, but she was 5 days after being 18 when she was filmed doing this video, and supposedly it was leaked by a very good friend of hers as well.
Well, that's interesting to me also. I mean, she obviously knows they're filming her. What do you think about that, Dr. Drew? She seems to be in on it.
Yeah. Well, right. And there's no doubt what Chloe is sort of putting her finger on here is that she is wanting to establish a sense of herself, her own sense of self, separate from Miley Cyrus. The problem is, though, she's doing this at a time and in a circumstance where there are other emotional issues clearly coming to bear. And yes, she's casting off some character so she can be herself, which is a positive thing at an appropriate stage of life. But that is not what we're watching here. We're watching somebody go well beyond that and act out in ways that are dangerous and problematic for them, including including showing impaired judgment by having the thing, showing impaired judgment by having this thing filmed in the first place. I mean, that's a bizarre thing.
I mean, she knew it was going to get out too. She knew that,
and she doesn't care. The fact that her judgment, her judgment and her disregard for the public seeing this tells you something else too.
Gotta go,
I mean,
Tara.
why? Why is she doing this?
Thank you very much, guys. Very much. And you can see Dr. Drew on Celebrity Rehab Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on VH1, and he's going to be a star of HLN soon. Back in a minute.